Your person has been going through an incredibly difficult time, one that has taken a toll on their emotional, mental, and even spiritual well-being. Life hasn't been kind to them lately, and as a result, they've often been much harder on themselves than anyone else ever could be. They've struggled internally, questioning their worth, their decisions, and their ability to offer love in the way that you deserve. It may have seemed like they were distant, cold, or emotionally unavailable, but in truth, they were grappling with wounds that needed their full attention. It wasn't about you or a lack of care, it was about the chaos within them that they needed to sort through. At the time, they were simply not in a place where they could show up for you or for the connection the way they wanted to. They recognized your worth, they saw how deeply you cared, but they couldn't reciprocate in the moment, not because they didn't feel the same, but because they needed space to confront their inner battles. They needed time alone, not to run away, but to heal, to process suppressed emotions, and to release the pain and baggage that no longer served their growth. In trying to push through without healing, they began to deny their feelings, both for themselves and for you. They weren't ready to face the magnitude of what they felt, nor were they prepared to let go of certain illusions and patterns that had kept them safe for so long. Denial, in some way, felt like a form of survival. But even then, underneath the surface, they were enduring emotional turmoil so intense that it left them feeling drained and disconnected from everything around them, including you. What you may not have seen was that a large part of their emotional exhaustion stemmed from the intense energetic bond they shared with you. So much of their time and mental space was occupied by thoughts of you, of the life they envisioned with you, of the warmth they felt when your souls connected. They found themselves caught in a whirlwind of fantasy and deep emotional longing, which only intensified the pressure they felt to be someone worthy of you. Your energy, your essence, stayed with them even when you weren't physically present. It was overwhelming, and yet, it was the most real thing they had felt in a very long time. For the first time in their life, they realized what it meant to truly need someone, not out of dependency or fear, but from a place of spiritual and emotional awakening. You weren't just a desire or a fleeting attraction. You became an anchor in their storm, a source of peace and comfort in a world that felt increasingly chaotic. Your presence touched something within them that no one else had ever reached. It wasn't about lust or infatuation, it was deeper, more sacred. You made them feel seen, understood, and accepted, perhaps for the first time ever. They now understand that what exists between the two of you goes far beyond this lifetime. It's not just a connection, it's a soul bond, something ancient, something that has survived through many incarnations. In your eyes, they see home. In your touch, they feel healed. The chemistry between you is unlike anything they've ever experienced. It's not just physical or emotional, it's spiritual, magnetic, undeniable. They're beginning to awaken to this truth more and more each day. And while they may have struggled to express it before, they are starting to realize just how deeply they need your energy in their life, not out of desperation, but because your presence brings them a sense of healing, clarity, and purpose. You bring light into places within them that had long been dark. You stir something sacred in their soul that had lain dormant until you came into their life. They never intended to hurt you or push you away. If anything, their distance was an act of love, flawed, yes, but rooted in a desire to protect both of you from the version of themselves that was still broken and in need of repair. They didn't want to offer you a half-hearted love, one that was burdened by unresolved pain and confusion. They wanted to become someone who could love you fully, deeply, and honestly. They now see that love isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And your consistent, compassionate energy has been a guiding light for them in ways you may not even realize. You've helped them see that vulnerability isn't weakness, that healing is possible, and that soul-deep connections are rare gifts meant to be cherished. In their heart, they carry immense gratitude for you. Even if they haven't always shown it, they know how profoundly you've impacted their life. And though the road may not have been easy, and the journey far from over, one thing is certain: they feel your bond in every fiber of their being. It's a love that transcends distance, time, and even silence, a love that continues to grow, quietly but powerfully, in the sacred space between your souls. I had become so accustomed to your love and attention that it became a constant presence in my life, so much so that even in my dreams, I felt your warmth and care. It was something I held on to, something I believed would never change. I never imagined, even for a second, that you would take it back or that there would come a day when I'd have to live without it. It's difficult to put into words just how much I've come to rely on that love, how deeply it shaped my everyday life, my thoughts, and my emotions. When you pulled away, it felt like a part of me was suddenly missing, and I was left to face a kind of emptiness I wasn't prepared for. Looking back, I feel an overwhelming sense of shame about the way I handled things between us. I won't deny that I made mistakes that I wish I could go back and fix. I know from your perspective it might seem like I lacked the maturity to handle the complexities of our relationship, to juggle everything going on in my life while still being fully present with you. And maybe that's true. Maybe I wasn't ready in the way you needed me to be. But that doesn't mean I didn't care. That doesn't mean I didn't love you with all that I had. Sometimes, love isn't enough when it's not supported by understanding and action, and I see that now more clearly than ever. I also understand that you have a lot of complaints and concerns about how I've behaved or the choices I've made. You're absolutely right to feel the way you do. I won't argue or try to invalidate your feelings. You've always deserved clarity, consistency, and someone who makes you feel like a priority. And if I failed to provide that, then the fault lies with me. But I hope you can also try to see things from my side, even just a little. My life isn't simple. There are people who depend on me, responsibilities I can't just abandon or ignore. Every day, I'm carrying more than I sometimes let on, trying to balance everything without letting anyone down. That includes you. I'm not trying to use my responsibilities as an excuse. I just want you to understand why I've taken a step back, why I haven't rushed into anything or forced decisions that I wasn't ready for. If I were to simply walk away from everything right now, without making proper arrangements or thinking things through, it would create a mess, not just in my world, but in the lives of others who rely on me. And the last thing I want is to drag you into a situation where you're burdened by the consequences of my unfinished business. You deserve peace and happiness, not chaos. That's why I'm taking my time. It's not because I'm unsure about you or what we share. Quite the opposite. I want to come to you when I'm truly ready, when I've handled everything I need to, when the weight on my shoulders has been lifted, and when I can finally offer you the kind of love and life you deserve. I want to be with you fully, not with divided attention or lingering worries in the back of my mind. When I'm with you, I want it to be peaceful, joyful, and free of stress. You are worth that kind of presence and intention. Please believe me when I say that I'm not lying or trying to buy time for the wrong reasons. Every day without you feels heavy. I miss you more than I can express, and the emptiness I feel in your absence is something I carry constantly. I know I may not show it as clearly or say it as often as I should, but the truth is, I feel deeply sad and even a little lost without you. There's a part of me that feels incomplete when we're not together. I can handle a temporary separation, I can understand the need for space or healing, but I cannot imagine a life where this distance becomes permanent. The thought of never finding my way back to you, of never getting the chance to do things right, is heartbreaking. I love you with everything in me, and I still believe in us. I believe that what we have is worth fighting for, even if the road to reconciliation is slow and uncertain. I'm not asking for you to wait forever, but I do ask for your patience and understanding just a little longer. I want to build a future with you that is grounded in trust, respect, and mutual care. I want to come to you not as someone broken or distracted, but as someone whole, someone who has handled their responsibilities and is ready to start fresh, with you at the center of their world. That's the version of me I'm working toward every day. Not for anyone else, but for you and for us. So please hold on to this truth: I love you, deeply and sincerely, and I'm doing everything I can to return to you, not with chaos, but with peace. When you turned your back on me, it felt as if my entire world came crashing down. It wasn't just the loss of a person, it was the loss of a presence that gave my life meaning, the absence of someone who once made everything feel whole. I felt like I had lost the most precious part of my life, and no matter how much time passes, that emptiness still lingers. It's a feeling I carry with me daily, a quiet ache that reminds me of what once was and what I ruined. Looking back, I know I made mistakes, ones I deeply regret. I went against you, not out of malice, but because I was trying to hide my own vulnerability. I was afraid of being exposed, of letting you see just how fragile I truly was. Instead of being honest about my fears and insecurities, I pushed you away. I chose distance over communication, silence over honesty, and for that, I am now paying the price. In trying to block you out, I ended up blocking out the light that once gave me hope. The consequences of my actions, my karma, are showing themselves clearly now, and the regret is overwhelming. I now understand that someone like you doesn't come around often, if ever again. You are truly rare, a soul so pure, so deeply compassionate and emotionally intelligent. You had this way of understanding me even when I couldn't find the words to explain myself. You saw through the walls I tried to build and reached places within me that no one else ever had. There is no replacing you. I don't say that lightly. I say it with full awareness of what I lost. In your absence, there is a silence that nothing can fill, no matter how much I try to distract myself or pretend like I'm fine. You brought so much more than just companionship into my life. You brought wisdom, emotional support, and a sense of grounding that I didn't even know I needed until you were gone. You helped me make sense of things when my mind was clouded with confusion. You stood by me even when I didn't deserve it, and you offered comfort when I didn't have the courage to ask for it. You never judged me, even in my worst moments. Instead, you tried to help me heal. You saw the parts of me that were broken and tried to help me piece them back together. You made me see aspects of myself that needed serious attention, parts one had buried for years. Because of you, I started to confront my inner wounds, to acknowledge the damage I had carried for so long. Your love helped me grow in ways I never imagined. And now that you're gone, I feel lost. It's as though the light you brought into my life has faded, and I am once again surrounded by shadows. I know now that finding someone like you again is close to impossible. Your love was genuine, not performative. It wasn't based on conditions or expectations, it was real. You loved deeply, selflessly, and wholeheartedly. You were patient with me when I was impatient with myself. You were gentle when I was harsh, and strong when I was weak. That kind of love doesn't come around often, and it certainly doesn't come without cost. I see that now, more than ever. Please trust me when I say I never meant to play with your emotions. Hurting you was never my intention, though I know intent doesn't erase impact. I was reckless with your heart, and I failed to appreciate the depth of what you offered me. I took your presence for granted, assuming you'd always be there, and now I'm left with the bitter reality that you're not. There's not a day that goes by when I don't think about how things could have been different if I had just been more honest, more brave, more present. I miss your voice, your energy, your calming presence. I miss the way you would listen without interrupting, how you'd encourage me when I was ready to give up, and how you always seemed to know exactly what I needed, even before I did. I know I can't turn back time or undo the damage I've done, but I hope this message shows that I've reflected deeply on everything. I'm not writing this to seek sympathy or to beg for reconciliation. I'm writing this because you deserve to know how much you meant to me, how much you still mean to me, and how deeply I regret hurting you. Wherever life takes you, I hope you find the peace, love, and happiness that you deserve. If our paths never cross again, I will still carry the lessons you taught me and the memories we shared with the utmost respect and gratitude. And even if I am no longer a part of your life, please know that you will always have a place in my heart, one that no one else can ever truly fill.